What's up, landlords? There's squatters out here lurking online looking for the next property to steal. I'm going to show you a horrible story where this landlord got set back $50K dealing with these squatters and became so discouraged they're exiting the business altogether now.
I don't know what you need to take up with the police, whatever the case may be.
I own the house.
But yeah,
Okay.
no.
If you touch
I'm not touching you.
You are touching me.
And
this lady is
touching me.
You are. God damn it.
At the end of the video, we'll talk about how to prevent this from happening to you, but let's get into it first.
We had several people that looked at it, and we had one offer that we were about to accept on March 2nd. And based on the fact that we were going to accept that offer, I had a couple of windows that had some small chips in it. So I was going to go ahead and fix that so that would not be a deterrent to executing the sale. So on March 2nd, I sent a handyman over to repair those windows. At 7 a.m. that morning, after he had picked up the key, he gives me a rather panicked phone call and said, "Patty, there is a mother pit bull with 10 to 14 babies sleeping on the front porch, and I can't go in the house." Well, I had no idea why there might be a dog on my house for sale. So I drove over there, and sure enough, there was a dog with babies. And at that point, I was just incredibly puzzled. And so I started to open the back door with my key. And at that point, it dawned on me that the house could have people in it and that I might place myself in danger if I simply walked into the house. So instead of opening the back door, I dialed 911 and had a conversation with the police and explained the situation. As I was walking around to the front of the house to wait for the police, I think the tenants must have heard my voice. The squatters rather, must have heard my voice, and they came out. And it was two young women who told me that they had a lease to live there. And very quickly, she pulled up the lease on her phone, shows it to me. It was unsigned, as I could see it, and it was issued by a person whom I didn't know. And so I told her, I said, "I'm really sorry to tell you this, but this house is not for rent. This person has no affiliation with me or my business partner, the owner of the home. And I'm really sorry. I think you must have been scammed." And she told me then and showed me a receipt that they had paid $3,100 in first month rent, pet fee, and a deposit. And then she indicated that it was for rent on Zillow. Well, I owned the listing on Zillow. And so I knew that it was listed for sale. And had anything been altered on that, you get an email from Zillow saying that your listing's been altered. I had not received anything like that. I then looked it up on Zillow and it was not for rent. So I'm beginning to get a little bit suspicious, but we're waiting on the police officer. And he indicated that he was pretty sure that this young woman was a serial squatter because she had just been evicted from another house not very far away, 3 or 4 blocks away, in the past month. She had moved into that house in December and had recently been evicted. So at that point in time, we knew that this was probably a scam that these young women run, and they go from one home to another, but they know the law so well. They know that I have absolutely no right to remove them until it meanders through the civil court system. But that second day, I drove by and I saw that the front door was open. And so I stopped. I was alone. And I walked up to the sunroom porch and the dogs were gone. So I was feeling rather hopeful because that front door was 3/4 of the way open. So I knocked. I announced my presence, in keeping with the fact that they have a right to privacy. And then I entered the sunroom porch and knocked on the front door as well and announced my presence. At that point in time, when I looked into the front door, I see that they're still there. I had pepper spray in my hand. They rushed to the front door and it immediately escalated.
You don't have any right to be in the house at all.
ma'am.
You do not. You do not, because according to my lease, me and my girlfriend owns the house. So I don't know what you need to take up with the police, whatever the case may be.
I own the house.
But yeah,
Okay.
no.
If you touch
I'm not
me,
touching you.
you are touching me. And this lady is touching me. You are. God damn it.
And then they threw me out onto the porch and I fell out onto the sunroom porch. I called the police. The police told me that I had absolutely no right to privacy, that they had, if they wanted to, they could have arrested me for that action. Another altercation, we were driving by at night. They threw a brick at my car and damaged it. And we had the window part way down and they threw human feces into the car. Of course, the case went our way, but it didn't go our way until 34 days later. And I had to hire an attorney. That cost me about $5,500 in attorney's fees, as well as court filing fees. And meanwhile, the squatters are living in the house. And I have absolutely no right to go into this house because these squatters have the expectation of privacy. Even though the law knows that they're squatters, I know that they're squatters, and they know they're squatters. They did $38,000 worth of damage to the inside of the home, purely out of spite and anger. They destroyed walls and cabinets. They stole our washer dryer. They placed feces on the carpet and other places. They left food. They threw eggs on the walls and the flooring. To add insult to injury, we lost that offer, of course, that had been made on the home. So it has cost us an enormous amount of money and time and emotional energy. I am concerned from a financial standpoint as well. These homes that we own a few of them, and this is my retirement. And so any sort of income that I was trusting to live off of for this year is diminished because of this act of stealing. That's essentially what they've done. They've stolen my home from me for a period of time. And then they escalated it by doing almost $40,000 worth of damage. It is now my decision to get rid of all of my rental properties, and I will have to figure another way out to subsidize my retirement. This is people that are taking advantage of open homes and breaking in and using it for their own living. Governor DeSantis needs to have a special ruling for someone that breaks into a home, whether they have a fraudulent lease or they've simply broken in with no paperwork. And there needs to be a far more expedited way that the court system can look at the situation and declare quickly, within a couple of days, whether or not that is a legitimate individual in that house who might have been defrauded by a landlord, a sneaky landlord, or if in fact it's the landlord that is being defrauded by a squatter. There must be a differentiation between squatters and tenants and a more expedited way to determine if someone has entered your house, if they are a legal tenant.
All right. This angers me. It kind of makes me pissed because it's not fair at all, you know. So one thing, a lesson that I gathered from this is the most important thing is to not let the squatters get in. So, we'll talk about how we can prevent that from happening. But, more importantly, if the squatters do sneak in there, it is vital that you do not provoke them. So they want to retaliate like this one and cause all this damage. I think it is worth at least a chance, if you feel up to it, going there and confronting the squatters, trying to be cordial, because we have seen in the past, I got another video where one guy successfully got the squatters to leave, and you would have never known, he would have never known if he didn't go try, because he was worried about the court system being so long and drawn out. So he's like, you know what? I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to go take matters in my own hands, see if I can out-squat the squatters. It was pretty entertaining, but, the trend that I'm seeing from some of these squatter situations is that when it goes south, the squatters have nothing to lose. They're like animals. They're like bottom feeder scum. So you do not want to provoke them where they want to cause all this damage. But it is worth maybe a chance of just going there and talking to them, trying to maybe offer cash for keys, say, hey, maybe there's a misunderstanding. Is there anything we could do to resolve this situation? But if they start getting violent and they're trying to kick you and throw you out of your own property and yelling and stuff like that, all right, there's no need to be driving by, give them an opportunity to throw a brick at your car or throw feces in through your window. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. All right. So one thing that I want to point out is I did some research on this. I found it on Zillow. I found the property. I blacked out the address and the parcel ID because I'm trying not to like blast this lady and maybe people, protecting her personal information a little bit. But I did notice the home was built in 1921. So it's like over 100 years old. And then I also looked up on public record. Whoops, wrong one. And I show right here, it shows the sales history and the different amounts. And then the latest one is the one that I think this landlord lady was selling the property. And it seems that she wasn't even listing it to be rented. It was like, it seemed to me that the landlord was trying to sell that particular property. So the squatters were probably online Zillow looking around and for a house to kind of go steal. And I looked up on the local sheriff's office to figure out, okay, what's the crime in the area? Try to find out, is it something unique to this lady's situation? I noticed the property was kind of like a lower cost rental property. And I'm like, okay, yes, it seems like there's a lot of crime around here. The property was in this general area, just south of Martin Luther King and east of this I-95, SR-95. I think that's what this highway is right here. But anyways, I'm like, that didn't help me. I even looked and found on the ADT website, and it said this particular area, which is somewhere around here, was the property. It says it's well above average. So the moral of the story is, if you have a high risk property and there's a chance that it's going to be vacant. Either you're going to try and sell it and it's going to be vacant for a little bit, or you're going to try and list it for rent and it's going to be vacant. It's very important to make sure you get vacant property insurance. Also, go to the local police office and say, hey, is there any way I can file an authorization to act? This property is going to be vacant for a little while, and I'll post no trespassing signs. So in the event somebody does sneak in there, that I have proof that this place is vacant and nobody's supposed to be in there. Also, maybe consider installing like motion lights outside, a security alarm. I don't know, maybe even having like a guard dog and leave a guard dog in there overnight. I don't know. It's just so important to prevent the squatters from getting in there, because once they get in there and if they cause all this damage, it's very discouraging. It's going to cause you to want to sell your rental properties and give up. And that's what we're trying to prevent here. But all in all, that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know what you think. Give me some feedback. I'll see you guys around. Thanks. Bye.